Hi, welcome to Stoughton Spotlight. I'm your host, Jeffrey Pickette. This is a special edition of the show, Conversations with the Candidates. I'll be interviewing the candidates running for Selectman and School Committee in the 2016 election cycle here in Stoughton. The town election will be held April 5th. On this episode, I'm joined by Dr. Erdem Ural, who is running for School Committee. So, Erdem, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Jeff.
And Erdem has been the two-time school committee member. You've served 2 non-consecutive terms, and you're looking to serve a 3rd term on the school committee. And in your last year on the committee, you were the chairman. So definitely come with a lot of experience here. So we'll get started with just first telling a little bit about yourself, and just for those who might not know you, just to introduce yourself.
Good evening. My name is Erdem Ural, but people in Stoughton call me Doc. That is because I have a PhD degree in aerospace engineering. I lived in Stoughton for over 3 decades. I am married. I have 2 children. One of them goes to Hanson School in 4th grade, and the other one is in middle school, getting ready for high school next year. I own a home and a business in Stoughton. I'm an experienced educator, so I have served to Worcester Polytech or WPI as an adjunct professor. I also teach continuing education courses, do training to companies, and I have also experience with the school committee and the school laws because I have been on the committee for 6 years. I have a proven management track record. I am the founder and president of my company. I chair an ASTM International Committee on Hazard Potential of Chemicals. I'm the former manager of the Combustion Research Center, which is a research group, and former senior research scientist at FM Global. And I have a long list of community service in Stoughton. I am a member of the Stoughton Chamber of Commerce and Stoughton Lions Club. I served on the Finance Committee, and I also serve on the Town Meeting and Special Education Advisory Council.
So brings us here now to this election and the decision to run again for the school committee. So what ultimately was behind that decision?
I think the biggest reason was my constituents. There is a group of people who said that they need me to serve because I always fought for the best interest of the town, best interest of the taxpayers, and best interest of children. And I also championed the transparency in the administration and the town. And so that was the reason why they wanted me to run. And why I decided to run is because I have 2 kids in school system, and I think we can do much better with the school system.
Now, last election, the results, somewhere around 2-1 in terms of your opponent that year. Do you go into this election concerned at all, or just wondering how to flip that result more in your favor, and with a strategy of doing so, or is this was that a one-time abnormality kind of how do you approach this election cycle, knowing you're coming off of a 2-1 defeat?
Well, we respect the Stoughton voters have spoken, and that's what they decided at the time. But mind you that the turnout was very low. So it's people, how much they care about town. They come and vote whatever they want to vote is fine with me.
Now, looking at the school committee over the past year, Are there any critiques, or how do you feel that committee is running right now?
Well, there is 4-to-1 difference. One person is against continuing to fight for the transparency issues. The other.
What exactly, just to clarify about transparency, what issues are among those that you would like to see under that umbrella of transparency?
Well, maybe if you let me explain, give
Sure.
you a little longer answer. The Massachusetts law requires that all the committee activity as a public body needs to be in an open forum. So it needs to be, meetings needs to be detailed, everything important needs to be discussed and concluded in the meeting. So the issue is, you also are allowed to speak to individual members, but not as a whole group. So I don't want to criticize anybody here.
But do you feel it's not happening right now?
Yeah, there are some issues like take the superintendent's evaluation process, for example. So that there is a lot to be improved there.
Well, that was something when you were chair that was a contentious issue back and forth. This isn't the situation, but if you are a one-person board, what is your perfect idea of an evaluation cycle for the superintendent?
I think
or just system, rather?
Well, I think the system is prescribed by the Massachusetts Department of Education. Superintendent proposes some goals, and the school committee discusses and accepts those goals, and then superintendent performs those goals. And then, then the school committee decides, whether she met them, she exceeded them, or needs improvement. So the difficulty I had with the existing process was that, the law also says the goals have to be challenging. So superintendent wasn't willing to take, challenging goals. The goals were either trivial, or they were things that she has already done. So that was you can look at the videotapes from previous meetings.
So what's a goal that you'd like to see her or the superintendent be able to accomplish?
I want the school system to be centered on the children and the families. So the biggest thing is let's work together and come up with a metric to see how we are improving student achievement. So every time I brought that up, the committee and the superintendent didn't want to accept that kind of a goal. But we can work together and come up with something, tie the goal to student achievement. College and work readiness, that's really important thing to do. Some kids are getting college and workforce readiness, some aren't. So how do we improve that? Let's figure out a plan. And I don't have all the answers. That's why we hire the teachers, we hire the superintendent. Show us how you're gonna do, what you're gonna do, and show us what would be a reasonable goal along those lines. And then let's accept that. And so that will be a measurable progress for the kids.
Now, looking at the relations with the committee, is there anything, or the superintendent for that matter, is there anything you would do differently if elected back onto the school committee from your previous 2 terms, or are you going to be coming back on, this is what worked for me before, this is what I'm going to be doing in my next term?
Well, of course, I'm 1 year older, and I learn from my mistakes. It's also the environment that's changing. The superintendent, from day one, she didn't like me because I was asking tough questions. But the superintendent's contract is running out on 2017, and she announced that she was going to retire in 2017. So it's important for us to get a new superintendent that will be willing to focus on the achievement of the students.
Did she say that in an open session? I don't know if she's formally announced a retirement date.
I believe she said it open, but I may be mistaken.
But so what you mentioned, mistakes. What are some things that you would personally change or improve upon, or those mistakes that you would like to see yourself change going forward?
I haven't really thought about it, but I'm more mellow person. But at the end, I have the best interest of the town. I have the best interest of the kids, and it's also the committee. If everybody is going in a certain direction, there is some agreement among them, then you have to speak out. But if everybody is impartial, and even if there are differences in opinion, I sense that because the role of the school committee, one of the 3 roles of the school committee, is to keep the superintendent accountable. So if you believe that everybody is trying to achieve the same goal, then you have you let them speak, and then the problems take care of themselves. But if you're feeling that you are the only one, they are trying to suppress your opinion, then you have a different attitude.
Going forward, looking at some big projects that are on the horizon for the Stoughton Public Schools, of course, namely that would be the Stoughton High Building Project.
Yes.
And so, you've been off the committee for a year, and a lot of progress has been made in that project. So just it would be interesting to hear your take on that project, as it's getting closer and closer to having town meeting and ultimately the residents weigh in on it.
Yes. So, it's long overdue that, we have to take care of the high school kids. The building is in bad shape, and I have both my boys are very excited. My oldest son he's looking for year 2019. He'll be senior at that time. He'll be having the senior year in the new high school, and my younger one, he'll be going to new high school from his 9th grade. So we are all very excited. We got a little bit of tough sell, but we need to work very hard to let that happen. Get debt exclusion so that the project is funded.
And you mentioned the tough sell. What will it take to be able to be successful in that tough sell, as a school committee member?
I think giving the information and answering the questions, because it's going to be tough sell for our wealthy families. It'll be easy sell. They are already on board. It'll be a tough sell to people who are on low or fixed income, because if you look at the average tax cost is about $4,500 in town, and then the debt exclusion refinance, I think it's going to be $400 or so. So that's like a 10% increase in the town tax bill. So we need to find ways, because I don't want anybody to leave the town because they can't afford to pay taxes. So we can maybe find ways of letting them pay in other ways. Like, we have a program for people working in the town hall for senior citizens, so maybe we can expand that program, make it more affordable for those people.
But you're entirely in favor of the project as it's been proposed?
Absolutely.
And do you feel that, just from a hypothetical standpoint, or just a philosophical standpoint, that a new building leads to better testing results and better standing in the district, and among other districts in the state, will improve where Stoughton High is ranked, for example? Are you a believer that there's a direct correlation there between a new building and improvement there?
I think there is a correlation, but I don't know how direct it is. It'll certainly be good for the kids. It'll certainly be motivate them to do better. It'll certainly provide more opportunities to socialize, and it's also be high school is like a status symbol for the town, so it'll attract more families into town.
Now, looking at one of your roles as a school committee member would be the year-to-year budget that the school committee ultimately approves and sends to the selectmen and onto finance committee and then onto town meeting. Over the next few years, over your term will be the bulk of the building of the project and the beginning of the financing of that project. So how would you handle the year-to-year budget process, knowing that you also have this large high school that's being built?
Well, the cost of the high school will be financed.
Sure, but I'm just saying.
It will be. I think the number was given 440. Yeah, 400. I forgot, $430 or $470 per year.
I think it's $124 per $100,000 your house is assessed.
Yeah, so like an average house value is about $350. So we're talking about
$400
or $450.
Right.
So I think that will be, we need to, that will be paid, and then the school department, a big part of the money comes from the Department of Education. This year our school budget is increasing. The proposed budget is like 2.5%.
Right, and that's
increase.
Actually less than it has in some years. In previous years, it's been closer by, I would say, 4.5%.
That's right. But then at the end of those years, we turn money back to town. So if you look at the difference between 2.5% and 4%, we are talking about $600,000 difference in the budget. And we've typically been returning maybe half that, maybe quarter that, but certainly that's fiscally responsible action, and I applaud the school committee and the superintendent for doing that. But once you pass that, and we have a good board of selectmen, although they fight more than the school committee guys do. And they have been very active, trying to increase the revenue to the town. So we need to find, new sources of revenue. And as I said, we need to, that's not the school department jurisdiction, but we need to find ways to have the seniors or the people on fixed income to, pay their tax bill, part of it, through other means like volunteer work, and we can do this. We need to do it. We can do it. We got the library project coming up, but that's not being done as a debt exclusion, but that's just going as a straight financing. Then, so that's $7 million that we're talking about. $70 on the
high school
increase in the taxes.
Right. And so looking at just overall high school education in Stoughton, what would be something that you would like to see implemented over the next 3 years for maybe like either a core requirement or a class you feel would be beneficial for people who are attending Stoughton High School, once they graduate and enter the quote real world or go to college, that they should have under their belt?
Okay. Maybe you'll permit me to answer it in different ways.
Sure.
Because that's a pet topic of mine. Stoughton High School does cater different groups of students, as they should, that will go through different career paths, or they'll go to workforce. Like we have a business and finance department. I think that's a wonderful program. That prepares the students who don't want to go to college, and they can get a job if they go through that program. I forgot the name of it, but You probably know better than me. When did you graduate, Jeff?
2006.
2006, so it's fairly new. So that's the track, Business and Career Technology. So I really like that program. And the kids, after they finish it, they may still want to go to college. They go to business school. They do so well. You know, they learn about marketing. They learn about the technology. They learn about web design. So that's wonderful. Then we got a group of students who want to do, just go to like a technology vocational school, and we have the Southeastern Regional, and that school is doing so well. Their MCAS or the PARC scores have been improving, and there is a long waiting list or a long list of applicants to go in there. Even my son wants to go there. He went and interviewed. I don't think he did well in the interview, but that's a really great option. The maths and sciences, we have also a really good language program. You know, they can go take Latin, for example. They can take AP in Latin, so I really like that department too. They are doing a wonderful job. History and social sciences, that's not my area, so I can't really tell you it. I hated the history and social sciences.
See, that's my favorite.
So that's why every kid is different. You know, we gotta cater them. But I love the science, and I have been wanting to. I have been working to improve the science curriculum. I have some ideas.
Yeah, so
but
share,
I can maybe tell you.
Share a class that you'd like to see. Again, just a hypothetical
like
class you'd like to see.
I can tell you what example I have I'm dealing with right now.
Sure.
My kid is finishing middle school. So actually we just got I think the parents have just gotten the sheet proposed classes for high school and program of studies. And this is also available on the high school website. I think, if not, you can just send me an email and I'll email it to you. It's Erdem, ERDEM at 02072.org. So now, my science has an aptitude for math and science. So I looked at the math classes. He's gonna take geometry. That's fine. And I look at these options for the science, 9th grade science. There are of 4 options, but two of them are essentially they have 2 options. One is biology, and the second option is environmental science. Then they have the environmental instructional lab, so that's like a study period. And then another option is introduction to engineering, but the program of study says this is for kids who scored in the warning failing category of grade 8 MCAS. So if it was totally up to me, see, the school committee doesn't have any authority to dictate what the curriculum is, what courses are offered. We can just indicate our desire, and as a citizen, I can indicate my desire. Anybody can do that. See, I'm hoping that my son would go to college and graduate school and specialize in math or one of the basic fields of science. I'm hoping he'll even get a Nobel Prize, but but I mean, like your sister, she did so well. So I would want to see kids early on taking traditional basic science classes like physics, like chemistry.
Instead of waiting till
they're
like
older. The physics, they have to wait to 12th grade. I recognize, some of the physics classes you need math skills. Like you need to know geometry, you need to know trigonometry, you need to know calculus. So that's for the advanced physics. But the basic, if I could redo this curriculum, I would put basic science classes even in middle school. See, when I was in Turkey, I did the middle school and high school in Turkey. We had a physics class in middle school. We had a chemistry class in middle school. We had a biology class. My father was a biology teacher in middle school. So you gotta introduce the kids so that they know these basic disciplines, and maybe they like it, maybe they don't. So if you wait till the end of the high school, you won't be able to. Maybe it'll be too late.
So as we approach a little under 3 minutes left in the show.
Are you kidding me?
Right, the half hour goes by quickly. Just a couple of final questions to wrap up. Start with some very quick hitting questions. These are just one-word answers. Favorite place to eat in Stoughton?
Chicken kebab. You asked me that last year.
Right. Well, in case I'm not going to replay that
Okay.
last. So, favorite music?
Classical.
Your biggest strength?
My biggest strength, I guess, my family.
Your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness. That's a tough, deep question, Jeff. My biggest weakness. I guess the social sciences or social skills.
And then a voter. All right. So, unlike some of the candidates in the election cycle, you're known to a lot of the people who follow the town politics. What if they had concerns? They might not have agreed with what you did in the first couple of terms. What's going to be different in a third term for you? How would you answer any concerns voters had that might not have agreed with the way this was done? What would you say to them?
I would love to hear from anybody who thinks that way, and I'll give you my cell phone number, which is 617-821-9852.
That might be a first.
My email is Erdem, ERDEM, @02072. And I would love to learn from my mistakes, and I would love for you to call me and talk to me.
And what's the biggest thing when you you meet a voter on the streets, or you meet a voter at an event or after a debate or something? What's the biggest thing that you want them to take away from that interaction?
I am here to serve you. I am here to serve the kids, and I am here to serve the town. We all live in this town. We are a big family. And I don't want the problems with the town. I don't want to lose police chief. I don't want to lose valuable employees. And I'm here to protect our best interest.
All right. So as we get time expiring, I just want to thank you for joining me, and I appreciate the time, Dr. Ural. And I encourage you to watch the other episodes of the Conversations with the Candidates series so you can hear from all the candidates running in this year's election in the town of Stoughton. Election day will be held Tuesday, April 5th, 2016, as you can see right on the screen. So once again, I'm Jeffrey Pickett, and thank you very much for tuning in.
Thank you, Jeff.